Hello friends, it's Lisa and I'm back with another video today. Look at how awesome this turned out. So I got the rest of, what are these called? The Spectrum Noir glitter inks. I got them on Thursday. They arrived at my house, but I was away on a work trip. So last night I pulled them out along with the other 6 pots that I had already received. So this is the full collection of all of their inks. And you'll see that one in the middle where their tops look a little bit different. That is, all 3 of those are just clear with the glitter. So I don't use that in this video. I will have another video using that. I haven't tried it yet. But here are all of the colors. So these are the ones actually with colors, and I think that the glitter is actually that specific color as well. I have heard, and this is from the comments in my last video, that some people have said that the glitter goes away after it dries. I have had very much the opposite experience where you can't really see the glitter when it's wet, but once it's dry, it's like bam, glitter. And I still have the piece that I glittered a couple weeks ago when I first got my first 2 sets. Oh, so I put these in color order, rainbow order. And those have had no issues. Like, they still are super glittery. So I don't know. I think they're probably just doing something wrong, to be honest with you, if they're losing a bunch of glitter. Or maybe they're rubbing it with their fingers a lot or something. I don't know. I have not had any of that case. Now, it is a little hard to capture the glitter on film, but in person, it's super sparkly. If you've ever used any of the Spectrum Noir sparkle pens, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The glitter's all over. It's really intense, but it's really pretty and shimmery. So I am now just putting all of these pots into groups of 3s just because I have kept the little, I don't know, plasticky deals that they came in, and I'm just putting those back into those little plastic deals just to make it easier to move them around. Next, what we're going to do, I'm going to show you real quick the other supplies that I used for this. So the Wow Gold Pearl and the White Satin Pearl by Hero Arts, embossing powders, and embossing ink pad. Really, you can use whatever ink pad you want for that, whatever embossing ink pad, and then a little embossing buddy tool. I have that teacups stamp that's from Crafter's Companion, this Impression Obsession stamp, which I think is like French script. It's really pretty. I just took out these stencils so that you could see. Then I also picked out a couple other background dyes because I thought it'd be fun to watercolor into them. So there's this Lattice and Flourish from Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. And finally, I'm not sure I remember who created this. This is a Penny Black stamp. I don't remember the name of it, but I'll try and link it up below. So here you can see I'm using the Versamark ink pad and an embossing buddy, and I'm stamping this down onto the rough side of some watercolor paper. This is the cheap watercolor paper. I just go to Michael's when they have the like 50% off paper and grab it because it's for card making. I mean, the nicer watercolor paper you use, the better results you're gonna get, but it's also a card, and I already spend a bunch of time making it. It seems, I don't think I need to use the best watercolor paper for this. When I do use really good watercolor paper, I use the Fabriano Artistico. But for this, this works perfectly well. So I stamped it down, and for the rest of them, which I'm not going to show you, I stamped it on the smooth side, and I got a much better impression. So I just poured the embossing powder over, dumped the rest back into the pot, and I'm heating this with my heat tool. Just in case you've never seen embossing before, which I doubt that's the case, but I did want to show you just one time. And if you do stamp on the smooth side, you get a much better impression. But I went ahead and kept this. You could just throw it away and redo it, but I figured I can put, use that as a background or cut it up, or maybe even if I did kind of a rusticy background, it would just work. So I decided to keep it, no reason to throw it out. Worst case scenario is I paint it, I learn something, and I don't use it. So here I'm just using a little pipette, and I put 3 different blue colors into my little palette. Then I clean out the pipette with a little bit of water, wipe it on my towel, and it's fine. So I've put some water, I sprayed some water down on that piece of paper, and I'm just dropping in this darkest blue color, which is that like china blue color that you get sometimes on the like white and blue china. Oh, it's so pretty. And then with the gold pearl embossing powder, it looked amazing. I had so much fun. I think that even if you just use that darkest color and watered it out, you would have gotten really cool results just there. You really don't need all of the colors. You don't need them. But I couldn't not get them, I guess I should say. And you'll see, I picked out my favorite thing that I did during this whole experiment I did last night to put at the very beginning. So you may know what I'm talking about. But I used the black and gray later, and it's amazing. And I was worried about doing it. I thought it was just going to be a toss-away piece, something you try and it's going to look ugly, but you do it anyway, and it looks amazing. And this one looks amazing. I had so much fun. And I love when I have fun and it turns out really good, because sometimes that doesn't happen. It's not a guaranteed. Now, you may be wondering what I'm doing. I'm just kind of wiping away the water from the top of the embossing powder. It does resist, but I've noted that sometimes it does want to stay. So I went ahead and wiped it. It does take off a little bit of the color in the background, but that's okay because I want it to kind of sink to the background a little bit. And if I took off too much, I went back like I'm doing now and added some deeper tones. This one also, I had that little space where I didn't get a very good impression, but I'll just put something there. I know a lot of times you see these YouTubers and they just do everything perfect, and I'm sure that they just pick the best, if something doesn't go right, they redo it. I don't have that much time. I'm going to be honest with you. I work full time and have a family and friends and a life. So to be honest, sometimes I just don't have the time to go back and re-stamp, re-emboss, or I just don't care. So I keep it in there. I keep it real for y'all. What can I say? Next, I just took some, I'm going to say clean water. It actually had some of the blue in there, but I didn't really care. And I just wet that top teacup. Now I'm taking that darkest china blue and dropping it in. Then I go ahead and do that on the bottom one as well, and I'll show you that in a minute. I'm going to do the top, middle, and bottom using the dark blue colors. So here you can see I'm just painting that color in, but really I was just trying to get some water down in that area, and I didn't mean it for it to be that blue. I had left my paintbrush uncleaned. So I just added some more water and wiped it up a little bit. Now, that middle one is striped. I thought it would be really cute to have dark coming in from the top and then dark coming in from the bottom on every other stripe. So you'll kind of see how that turns out. The embossing didn't fully disconnect each of the little stripes, so you saw a little bit of water or darker color got in on the top of some of those. But it's okay because I did ombre them out a little bit more than they did automatically. Here I zoomed in a little bit so you could get a closer view. And I put water down on that cup, and I'm just dropping color in the same way I did for the top cup. I just thought this was such a pretty look, just putting the color in. And you'll see once I finish putting the blue on, it'll move out a little bit more. And then I take a lighter blue in just a minute and cover up that white so that it's a very light blue, so it still gets that effect, but it's not quite as intense. Next, I'm taking just a little bit this blue-green color, and I had to pop the bubbles, but I'm going to paint in the little leaves. So I just used that same pipette. I have 50 or so pipettes because it costs the same on Amazon to get like 4 as it did to get 50. So I was like, I'll just get 50. And then I thought, oh, it'll be perfect. I'll use one for each of these colors. You don't need to do that. You just need one. So I probably should have just gotten less pipettes. But I have a surplus of pipettes. I have no idea what to do with them. If you do have any ideas, let me know in the comments because I've got nothing. Next, I took some of that lighter blue and I put it in the flowers. See, I'm also covering up a little bit of that white there with that light blue as well. I think it doesn't look as stark. It lets the white lines shine a little bit more. Going up and doing the same thing. Then I'll paint in that heart, as well as I'll use that light blue to give a little bit of shading on the green. But I'm still adding more colors. So these were a lot of fun. I really like these, and they're ink or dye-based products, so they're a little bit different than pigment watercolors, which are traditional watercolors, but they break down a little bit different than pigment watercolors do. And so you get some really cool colors and effects that you don't get with the pigment. When you're making like a real watercolor painting, obviously you want to use the pigment. It's just kind of better, but you get some really cool results with this kind of a product. So next I'm putting a little bit of water around the edge, because I felt like the stark white of the background made the lines a little bit hard to decipher against. So I decided to take some of the gray and just paint around the outside. I wasn't sure about the gray and the black. Gonna be 100% honest with you. I was like, I don't know that I need those colors. Don't know that. And I think they came together with the gold. And I was like, oh, that was the one set. I was like, you know what? I probably don't need to buy that. But I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. Because if I'm getting every other one, I might as well get that one. And the gold will be really nice. I can always use the black to darken things up. It'll be fine. But the gray looks so awesome. You'll see here as it dries, I think it'd be perfect for any kind of stormy sky that you ever wanted to do. Especially since you see, especially in the gray and black of these colors, that watercolor breakdown that I was talking about just a minute ago. How the colors, as you kind of try to water them out, they break apart into different colors and you get some really cool results that you just can't get anyway else. So I'm just adding that color. The one thing you want to do when you're doing a wash like this is to try and keep the edges wet. Because as soon as you let an edge dry, even if you put water over that again, it's not going to fully combine. So you want to work pretty fast. Obviously taking care, you don't want to ruin your project, but you want to work pretty fast to get the whole background wetted and working. So then I'm just adding a little bit darker of a shadow under the teacups to make it look like they're sitting on something. Next, I'm just going to take, just like we did at the very beginning, take some blues and add them onto this background. I didn't take out a whole lot of colors because it was 8 p.m. when I started and I go to bed at 10. So, you know, I only had so much time. And I wanted to share this with you because I had so much fun. I'll definitely be using more of the colors tonight when I go down and craft. But I did want to share this with you because it turned out so amazing. I had so much fun. It's just exciting when you have a lot of fun and things turn out. So I'm just adding the darkest and the medium blue color because I had that left on my desk or in my little palette. And I wasn't sure how well these, if you would be able to reconstitute them. Like I'd just be able to let them dry on my palette and then put some water and then use them again. So this one turned out really well, just like the first one. The embossing, the stamping and embossing I didn't do great on. This was the one I showed you. But I do still think I can use it as a background of card because it turned out pretty cute. Here I'm showing you my favorite background that I made. And that's saying something because like the painted teacups were amazing too. But I went ahead and watered the whole background down. I had a drop or two of the black on there. That's why you got that little black stain. But as soon as I started putting that black down, oh my gosh, these colors. And even if you just use a tiny bit like I did, I had those 2 drops and I put the water on there, it looks really cool. You see that the color breaks into different parts. You got some more bluey black, and then you got some more brown black. Some of the blue might be coming in from that water that I have left over, but it might just be something you need to do. So add a little bit of blue to your black. And I do put in some gray as well. It might be a little hard to discern when I'm putting blue or gray, but the darker color, not blue or gray, black or gray, but the darker color is obviously black and the lighter color is gray. But how it was so simple, so fast, and yet it looks so good. I love the French words in the background, along with this kind of rusted look. For sure a winner. For sure a technique winner. So if you don't get any of these except for the black, the gray, and the gold, I would get those 3 because I have never been able to do anything like that before. So my suggestion is definitely get those 3 colors. Next, I had a little bit left over, as well as this small little piece of watercolor paper that has been through my Xyron machine. And I decided to just put some color down on it. I said, you know what, I'll just take that color and I'll put it down. And it looks so cool. I just love how these work. Sometimes it's harder to get a blend than maybe some pigment color watercolors, but the striations in this give this piece such a depth that I really liked. And it was literally a 2-minute watercolor experience, you know, just putting the water down. I think you might look at someone else's project and say, oh my gosh, their stuff is so amazing, and then you try and do it and it doesn't come out exactly like how they do it. But maybe instead of saying, oh, it's not what so-and-so made, you look at it and say, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. What can I do with this? It's just my personal opinion. Next, I wanted to ask you, do you like to have it zoomed in? So let me know in the comments. Would you rather have me put my camera closer to the workspace so you can see closer up, or have my camera now like it is where it's zoomed out? I did zoom in manually in the video software today on a few areas, but overall I usually keep it pretty high up. If you would like it closer, just let me know and I can do that. So here we go. Here are some of the pictures. Oh my gosh, they look so cute. I can't wait to make some cards, and I'll definitely video that so you can see how I transition those from just amazing pieces of paper to happy, fun cards. Here are some other videos you might be interested in. Thank you so much for joining me. Definitely comment on which was your favorite, if you're like me and liked the black or liked something else. And have a wonderful day. Oh, subscribe if you haven't done that already. Bye.